Despite a year of lots and ups and downs, Wurm Online may be about to finish 2024 on a high point. And we also have a sneak peek of what we might be able to expect from Wurm Online in 2025. Let's talk about it. G'day everybody, my name is Bloody Drongo and I'm a veteran player of Wurm Online, and I'm excited to get into this video and talk about the latest Wurm Online development update for fall of 2024, because there is some really interesting and potentially exciting stuff which is definitely worth talking about. The first of which is going to be an update that is going to be coming out this coming Thursday apparently, which is a building update that will be introducing ceilings to building structures. So being able to build on the underside of the floor above you and being able to make it more aesthetically pleasing. Now, this is going to add in a whole bunch of new options, including being able the ability to be able to rotate it for different design types, and also different wood types are going to change the way that the ceiling looks visually, much as it would with many other types of wooden items in the game that you use as tools or whether you build as furniture. Now, this is really exciting because it does lead me to think that potentially in the future we could see a world where we have a greater amount of freedom and flexibility in being able to change our wooden structures more generally, depending on the wood type that is out there. To combine with this update to add in the ability to make ceilings in game, they're also adding the ability to hang items from the ceilings themselves. So there is a new craftable item that will be introduced on Thursday called the craftable chandelier. And this will also be getting an accompanying skin that will be launched in conjunction with the Black Friday sales on Friday. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but there is also some news around that, and also a little update in there that I think has kind of flown a little bit under the radar as being potentially quite interesting. So the chandeliers will also, much like the wooden floors or the ceilings that they are being built on, will also display different metal colors, meaning that you should have a good degree of flexibility and customization to go along with this new building avenue. And, you know, I, like many other players, love being able to build in games. I think it's one of the big strengths of Wurm is the huge degree of flexibility and customization to build in the games. And I think this sort of stuff here is going to open up a whole new world of exciting possibilities for design, and just the ability to be able to hang things off the ceiling, I think is going to look great. And I really look forward to seeing this implemented in game. The next one apparently is going to be introduced in the first half of next year, if this is to be believed. And that is the introduction of what they were calling docks previously. Now, I personally don't remember docks being discussed too much in the past, although my memory is pretty bad, so I could easily just be forgetting a news post where this was discussed before. I just don't remember what it is now. However, this is really cool. And this is a expansion on that original concept of being able to build docks, which would be an offshoot of structures that is not actually hanging over and being able to go over uneven terrain. This will expand out past that original concept and allow you to build kind of like hanging structures, which will allow for maybe some interesting design choices, some interesting incorporations with the actual terrain around. And it's also a bit of a return to Wurm's roots in a way, in some senses, because don't forget that prior to the multi-level building update that introduced the ability to build multi-level structures, Wurm houses and structures used to be able to be built on uneven terrain originally. So this is kind of like, I almost kind of expect to see maybe some interesting homages to old school kind of building structures and terrain management. I don't know exactly how that's going to come together, but that's kind of where my mind originally goes. The next thing that we have to talk about is something that has plagued the Wurm community for a very, 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 very long time. as something that has been long talked about and teased. And in fact, the Wurm team has specifically teased this before as something that we should be getting excited about and is upcoming, and that is goblin camps. Now, goblin camps are as far as we're aware at the moment, focused towards a PvE experience on the home servers. Although I would not be surprised if they do get introduced on PvP servers as well, but I think it is primarily focused on adding in content for PvE players to have something that is more of a high level task and something a little bit more, a little bit of a different experience in the combat area of the game, which is one of the areas that I think is the most lacking, especially in the end game sort of challenges. Like once you get 70 fight skill or higher, generally speaking, with a decent life transfer weapon, some decent enchants and decent armor, you can kill most things in the game by yourself without too much of a problem, barring uniques, of course, which is a group hunt activity anyway. So this is more of a solo or even a small group style of content, which should hopefully fill that gap between just hunting regularly and, you know, getting together 10, 15, 100 players to do unique slayings. To go along with this, they are going to be basically, they've teased a whole bunch of the actual mechanics that are going into this. They're going to have multiple layers of defenses apparently, and they're going to have watchtowers. They're also going to have a sleep mechanic, which is really interesting. I don't think that specifically has been teased before. They're going to go to sleep at night and you can sneak past them, which will potentially give you the ability to use your lockpicking skills and stealing skills, which really don't have any relevance or usage on the PvE servers currently. And I really find that kind of exciting that we'll finally have a reason to actually train those skills and an ability to actually gain those skills potentially in a larger chunk. My hope would be is that they would give greater skill gain ticks than, you know, just grinding lockpicking on a small chest in your inventory or whatever. So that's kind of interesting, and it does look, at this stage, I would say fairly enticing. They will have chests of loot that are well guarded, locked away, and will be unique to goblin camps. So that will include new decorative items, and they'll be free for taking once the camp is cleared. And also in here, and this is particularly exciting for me personally because I'm at like 99.98 fight skill at the moment, and I'd love to get to close to 100 at some point in the future, but it is so slow. But defeating goblin camp enemies will provide more fighting skill at higher levels compared to normal PvE content. The way this is phrased, again, is another clue as to that this will be focused on PvE content, because of course on PvP, if you're killing other players, if they're over 20 fight skill, they give a significantly larger amount of fight skill than just killing PvE enemies. So this will give players a reliable way to gain skill above 70, which is really, really cool. Not only will goblin camps at this stage be a new avenue of content to focus on more experienced, more developed players, it will also be content that allows for useful, practical skill gain in skills that perhaps don't have a great avenue on the PvE servers currently, which I think is a really, really positive thing. There is also going to be some other things that I'm a little bit less excited about, but are still, I guess, a net positive, including client work and Java upgrades. I don't really know exactly what this is. I'm not a big tech guy. I don't really understand exactly how important this is and exactly how impactful this will be, but cool. Okay, great. There is also a planned character customization rework, which is good news. I think that has been something that a lot of people have requested. They mention in here customizable player face creation, including a lot of sliders instead of pre-created options, which I think most RPG players get excited at the prospect of a really fun and in-depth customizable player creation. And that's definitely something that's been wanted and requested for a very, very long time. They've also planning some updates and upgrades to the Wurm forum and the Wurmpedia. They're also, continuing to tackle bugs. They've uploaded again some of the older maps that went missing. And then we've also got a reminder that they are still looking for a new community manager. It mentions in here that they are vacant in that position now, which I imagine probably implies, I don't know if I've missed a post from Army, I maybe have, but it does imply that there is nobody in that role currently, and they are still actively recruiting for it. Again, I've talked about this in previous videos. A community manager and a really high-performing community manager is something that is really, really hard to find, and is such a niche and specialized area of knowledge that they are going to struggle to find somebody who will do a really outstanding job. But fingers crossed that they will, because it is a job that in my opinion, is really, really crucial to a game like Wurm Online that needs a engaged and positive community to put its best foot forward and engage in any kind of activity that they do to advertise and promote the game. So fingers crossed, we'll see what happens there. Finally, the big thing that they mention here is the Black Friday sales. Now, as always, there is some discounts on premium time and silver coins, which I'll absolutely be taking advantage of myself as well. And there is also a couple of other things in here too. There is a rerun of skins available for 5 silver each, which is, I think, to be expected. There is also permanent new skin offers to be available at a discounted price during the sale, including the chandelier skin that we mentioned earlier. There is also discounts on sleep powder, which is great for those of us who like to grind in game. And then finally, this is the one that I was like, wait, this is the last thing that we're mentioning? But they're adding in a cornucopia, which is a new item redeemable by any player with a premium account. So obviously this is a push to try and incentivize players to take advantage of the Black Friday sales, prem up some accounts, get this cornucopia item, which I think is a smart way of going about this, by including something that you will just get as a premium player. And this item will randomly generate small food items that you can take out of it. Now, I don't know exactly, obviously we don't know at this point exactly what the small items that will be inside this are, but I could see this potentially being extremely useful to have on most characters as a backup or just a little like substitute for food, especially if you're out traveling and maybe you're traveling over the course of a couple of days and you don't want to be carrying meals in your inventory and having them take damage. I could see this becoming very popular and very, very useful to a lot of people. So this is kind of exciting, and certainly a little bit of a sleeper thing that I think you could easily overlook if you're not actually going in here and reading these things. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on Thursday as part of the Black Friday sales event and everything like that. Honestly, at this stage, if Wurm can deliver, if the Wurm team can deliver on a lot of the stuff that they're talking about here, like the docks, the goblin camps, if they can lock down those in the first half of next year, I think at this stage, I'm personally willing to go, well, you know what? I think I was perhaps a little bit overly negative in the past about the future prospects of the game, and start to wind back some of my more heavy criticism, because honestly, this stuff is stuff that I think is generally a net benefit to the game. It doesn't substantially change the game in any negative way, and only is really something that can be, kudos given to it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, there is always something new around the corner, and if the track record of Wurm Online's development has taught us anything, is that no matter how many times we get teased stuff like this, we can never take it to the bank and go, yeah, this is imminently around the corner, because it's not uncommon for things to unforeseen development hurdles to come up, and other things to go awry in the process as well. But generally, pretty excited, pretty happy about this. Leave a comment down below about what you're most excited for coming up in 2025 for Wurm, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. I'll be doing more of these into next year, so stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.